Hi, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. So our first group here, can I just get your name?
Nicole.
And
Ralphie.
thank you so much for presenting first. Can I ask you, do you have a title for your piece?
Not really, but it's in relation to like billboards and buildings. So
the age of distraction, I would say.
The age of distraction, yeah. Yeah. And what made you decide to because I see that you have a nice multi-layered and you're really playing with the height and the depth of the piece, which I really like. And what made you decide to work in that way?
I definitely think that okay, you go ahead.
okay, so our idea is to have like some buildings that show how you're living like in nature and like a slow-paced living, but then you're kind of distracted by all the ads that you see on everyday life. So we kind of did like some animations, and we have some signs here that showcase all the ads, but we also wanted to integrate both in a way that's kind of similar to when you go to Times Square, you kind of see all these billboards and all the ads that are constantly flowing through your eyes and distracting you from an otherwise calm living. So we played with that. I don't know, Ralphie, did you want to add anything?
I definitely think that we try to create an atmosphere of stimuli and just having these contrasting worlds that don't visually make sense together and kind of make it make sense the way that, like living downtown doesn't really make sense because it's so there's so much happening all the time, and it really distracts you to the present moment. And I feel like that's what we were trying to convey, like the duality of everyday living. And yeah.
Thank you so much. I like that you're talking about the duality because I do see even with your ads there's like a conflicting between like worst coffee, best coffee, and then like let your dog out, but also take care of your dog. So I feel like it really does speak to this conflicting narrative. I also like that you're talking about advertisements and then you have this very like idyllic kind of scenic, like these houses are amazing. They look like something you would see on like a Greek hillside, which is like a very ideal place that I would like to live. So I like the pickup of the contrast. I'm curious, have you guys had because I know it's not always easy to work with a group, and I also know that you guys are combining different skills between like ceramics and animation. Is there anything like that you learned from the other dimension of the project that you might want to take forward going into your next artwork?
For me personally, I had a really hard time like wrapping my head around, the schedule of ceramics, having to like plan things and not just like straight ahead, just go for it. So I feel like that's something that I'm gonna take with me into my next projects and just be more like considerate of the time things take.
I think for me, it's mostly like how things live in a space, especially having it exhibited in for space as well. Kind of taking in considerations how animation can be projected and how it lives against a surface. Sometimes it's hard to, like, as someone that mostly does things like as a person that works with ceramics, it's hard sometimes to understand how a animation can live in like a physical space. So it's nice to like have that and definitely like understand how that could push your work forward.
Thank you. And Lily, right? We have Lily joining us, who wasn't here at the very beginning, but did you want to add anything? No pressure.
Well, I'm characteristically late, so this is fine. Yeah, I think one thing that's really important because of the collaboration, and because like there are so many moving parts, like we have the projection, and like what people see is just like one projection, but the projection requires the projector and then the media player and then the file format. And then within the animation, there's like different elements. And then within the ceramics, there's like a bunch of different elements, and we have to schedule around the firing and the drying, and we have to make sure it's moist. And then the moisture levels are very specific. And there's a very specific schedule around the clay. You know, like you're not in charge of the clay, you follow the clay. And I don't know, I don't have the patience for that. I think when you're a ceramicist, you have to have a very specific mindset that I'm not used to. And while we were like brainstorming, I think it was hard for us to come to like a shared vision. Like you can't really make an assumption that you say something and the other person understands what you mean. So we had to like always like check in and clarify like what the movement's going to look like, what the final piece will look like. But you know, I'm happy it all came together.
Yeah, it looks really great. Do we have time for more, or should we move? Okay. Thank you so much, you guys, for sharing.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Hello.
Hi.
We're good. Okay. So first of all, do you guys have a title for your piece? And can I get your names?
I'm Essa.
I'm Agnes.
I'm Jasmine.
I'm Lauren.
Hello.
I don't think we have a title.
That's okay. I'm just curious because you've built such a marvelous world here.
Thank you.
I'm curious. I like to always ask about titles. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
we don't
You
have titles.
So I feel like this piece has a really nice narrative to it, which we were talking about earlier. You guys have really like planted us in this nice world, and I'm wondering, do each of the pieces kind of, do you see that there's like a link between them, or like a story that you guys have created while you were making the pieces? And can you talk a little bit about narrative here?
I don't know if there's a narrative between them, but in terms of like connection, we went for more like the forms and the round curves. That's how we kind of connected them.
We're trying to emphasize like the surrealness. And I don't know, we really kind of collaborated in many ways, but also we were able to kind of do our own style and our own twist on things. And I think that kind of adds to the chaos that we were going for, because in the end, I think it all worked out and it all came together. But definitely there was like a brainstorming process, and yeah, things were kind of just coming as they went. It was pretty exciting to see how things worked out.
Thank you. I also wanted to say that I really appreciate how the animation is integrated and it kind of spills onto whoever is in front of it too. And I'm wondering, was that something that you had originally thought about? And what brought you to have that as part of it? Because I think it's really working.
Originally we wanted to have it front projection, but once we're in the space, we kind of realized if people are walking through, they're more likely to obstruct the projection. And by putting it in the back, it hits us and we're more immersed in the surreal world. So
Nice. And I'm also wondering, because I know everyone's mixed groups between animation and film. I mean, animation, film, animation, and ceramics. Is there anything with the other medium that you learned or that you didn't expect that you might want to take forward in your future practice?
I think that for me personally, but I think that it does translate in the whole piece. Having like the animation aspect of this class and this assignment, I think we all created pieces that have a lot of movement in them. which with the ceramics I'd done in the past, that was never really something I would think about to add or to focus on. And so I think for all of us, this project really helped us kind of create something with that, like the beautiful drips and all the bugs and all the I think that was successful, and that was something that was really learned from this class and this project.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And you really did create this surreal world that I do see a lot of movement in it. And it's nice to have that play, like both in the animation and also in the ceramic works. So thank you.
Thank you.
Where do you want to stand?
Behind the counter.
You can also stand kind of in the work if you want to. Will you see the work too? Will you see the work too? Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Great job on the installation. Last time when I was here, I didn't see it fully suspended, and I really like it.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Can you tell me, have you guys thought about a title for the work? No pressure. A lot of people do. Amazing.
The title for the piece is Lens.
Can you talk about that?
I mean, yeah, we can basically we're thinking for this piece that there's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of think about it. We were thinking about perspective, the eyes being the window of the soul, the piece being interactive in multiple perspectives, kind of like the hidden lens. So we wanted the front of the piece to kind of be more of just kind of what you would see on the surface, and then adding this whole other dimension behind the screens. I think that's kind of what we were going for. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it really works, especially when I walked in here today and I could see it from the outside and I hadn't yet seen the animation. So being invited to walk around, it really draws you into the piece because you have to really experience it and put in the work. I also forgot to ask for all of your names for everybody who's watching.
My name is Sydney Bachnick.
I'm Justin.
Tyler.
I'm Florence.
Amazing. I'm also curious, is there anything that you learned in this process of collaboration with the animation element with the ceramics and this installation? Is there anything that was a new experience that you might be inspired to take forward in your practices?
I think the biggest challenge with this project was time management. And animation and ceramics are both super time consuming practices. And I guess kind of having an understanding for both students specialties, I guess that was the biggest challenge, and kind of trying to utilize people's strengths to the maximum to get this project done in time, because it was definitely a struggle.
Yeah. Well, it's also great in group work. It's a nice opportunity to acknowledge your skills and acknowledge the strengths in others too, and really bring that forward and working together. But I think you guys achieved something very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very inspiring.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to add to tell us?
Do you guys have anything to say? I mean, we can talk about the piece a little bit if you want.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, sure. All right, so basically, in terms of our animations, do you guys want to maybe talk about that a little bit, what your idea was behind it?
Yeah, I'm curious particularly about the animation that's in the torso.
Yeah, so the animation in the torso is basically a reflection of what's inside of us. It's a lens in the inner parts of ourselves. So it's basically the mind and the soul, mind and the heart. And we can make a decision, or we can just use both of them, actually. And also there's a part that insinuate the stomach. So you can see butterflies and blood cells to imitate that part. But yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's time. That's okay. Does anybody want to start with the mic? Don't be scared.
Sweating, crying, peeing myself. Can they hear me say that?
Only if you talk like this.
I'm just like, this is terrifying.
Hi, everybody. Can we start by getting your names?
I'm Gemma.
I'm Eve.
I'm Sadie.
I'm Kiana.
Hi. So I've been asking every group if they have a title, which I realize is maybe like the last thing that everybody thought about, with the theme being the age of destruction. The first thing I wanted to call to attention is that I find that you have this like multi-layer happening with like the animation, the background of the objects that are within the piece, the invitation to touch and play, and also the animation on top, which is like an extra layer of disorientation. Works really well. How did this all come to?
Well, we started off by brainstorming, thinking about how we could make this an interactive experience. So we settled on creating sort of like a archaeological dig from the future, where we invite the viewers really to come experience like what artifacts could exist in an imagined future from our current age, which we've kind of adopted the age of distraction as a title as well, since we're doing like sort of an archaeological age. So this would be from sort of our time period and going forward slightly. But yeah, we just decided to brainstorm about what types of objects could be left behind, and we got to building. And there was a lot of brainstorming and troubleshooting that came about to figure out what we would bury them in, because sand would be too messy and clay would be too dangerous. So we settled on a nice paper pulp to imitate sort of the rubble. And yeah.
I really like some of these objects you have here, and I'm wondering if you each have a favorite buried in there.
Oh, that's a tough one. I think what my favorites are a couple of the ones I made that are interactive. So I have some like this wheel that spins, and a couple things like this clamp that moves.
You make clay?
Oh. Thank you. Do you guys have any favorites?
The fishing lure.
Yeah, I like this one the best. And
Thank you.
security cam. That one's really cool. We wanted to think about objects that like you could maybe recognize them, but also ones that you don't really know what they are, like this one, or kind of like shapes. But just like thinking about what might be lost to time. Yeah.
It's anything you want it to be.
I appreciate that you kind of removed us from the time we are in now so we can take a step back and look at it, especially with this statement and thinking about objects that are very relevant now, and then also using ceramic as a tool here to make them kind of artifacts. So it was mentioned earlier, but a lot of the things that are left over from civilizations of the past are ceramic pieces. So it's really nice to see things recreated in this way, and thinking about just like taking a step out of the age of distraction. Good job, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm like,
Are we going in there or to the end? Okay. It's not me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to talk?
You can pass it off.
Everyone.
We're in this together. We're ready. Oh shoot. Where are you gonna be standing now? You're gonna be standing there? Yeah.
I feel so alone. Here.
You're pretty good.
You're part of the group still, don't you? But like it's like a
You're like a ghost. Yeah. You know, speaking over a looming figure. It's symbolic.
it is solid.
Yeah, I'll be the ghost. Are you okay? Okay.
Are we going?
Forward. Can you guys step forward a little bit?
Yes, we can.
We're good. Hi. So I'd like to start by getting everybody's names.
I'm John.
I'm Haley.
Charlie.
Althea. Annika. Great, thank you. This piece is crazy.
Thank you.
I can't believe it has this like mechanical element. I really like that it involves play, and it really speaks to the age of distraction too, with everything that's like hanging about it. You kind of feel like you have to like reach into it to experience it, but it's also like I like how it deals with the outside and the inside of the human body and of just like personal and private space. I also appreciate that it has like a hole that you can look into, and I can see a lot of like collaboration in this piece too. There's a lot of different elements that I can see coming together. I'm curious, is there anything about this whole experience of working with other people and other materials that would inspire you to move forward? Like maybe if you never worked with animation in the past or you never did installation, if there's anything about the process that you might want to take forward for your future practices.
I mean, everyone in the group kind of specialized in what they were most good at. I think, for example, Althea did the main clay elements. I did the mechanical elements. There's an animation playing inside that Charlie put together based on under camera photos of these pieces hanging around. And we all kind of just contributed in our own special ways. And I really think that that's why it came together so well. Does anyone else have anything they want to add?
I'm really interested to like learn more about animation, and because we had to do so much in so little time, we didn't really have the time to kind of, explore things. We just kind of only had the time to do what we were sure we could do. But yeah, I wanna do more.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like it's a good, even though if you didn't get to like fully explore other things, it's a good stepping stone of like awareness of like what is possible. And now you have all these new friends that you can collaborate with
My
in the future.
best friends.
I'm curious, does your piece have a title?
No.
Turn the wheel. Turn the wheel and look inside.
Turn the wheel and look inside.
It's our tagline.
That's our tagline.
Amazing. Can you speak to any of the decals that are on the outside?
Yeah, I guess I was in charge of putting together the decals. Some of them are hand drawn. Other ones are vintage imagery that I found that were in the public domain. Althea was gracious enough to teach me kind of the process of putting them on ceramics because it requires a special firing. And it was really great to learn, and it's definitely something that I want to implement and use more in the future because I think it really speaks to the project in a unique way.
I'm also curious, you have kind of like a body medical, like I can see it in the animation also in the thing. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit about that element of the piece.
So our concept was like exploring distraction from taking inspiration from like Plato's allegory of the cave and the idea that puppets are kind of like this distraction from real reality, and using this kind of allegory in like medical ideologies and industrial ideologies, and how the medical gaze kind of tries to classify bodies and like taxon like through taxonomy, and we kind of wanted to subvert that idea of like classifying how that can be like a violent act in like the body.
Does anybody else want to comment? Well, thank you.
I like ceramics.
Well, thank you so much, you guys. Really great.
You can do that one or this one. Very nice to make your acquaintance. This is so much fun. Okay, good.
Speaking it like this.
Not like this. Okay.
What am I saying?
Hello.
Hi.
So can I get started with your names?
Yes. Hi, I'm Salem. Oh. Hello, I'm Micah. We have a third team member who's unfortunately not able to join us today, who's Florence, who helped with this project.
Amazing. Can you guys tell me a little bit about how this all came together? I love the layer of the bugs and the shadows. And when I walked in today, I didn't see it before. And it was really exciting to be able to have that perspective of the outside of the space here and then be able to come and uncover it. And can you talk a little bit about how it all came together?
Yeah, so their theme was Age of Distraction. And so we wanted to work with like the way we can distract ourselves in our own thoughts and our feelings and our emotions and stuff, kind of clouding, the way we view the world and how we function. And so we picked this theme of bugs because we wanted to make this like swarm. And we actually visited the insectarium to get inspiration, which was a huge, wonderful bonding experience for us and really like motivated us to make as many bugs as we did.
Amazing.
Which is 63 in total. And we are so proud of all of them. And then we worked with sand animation to bring in that like, film animation stuff. And do you want to add anything?
We kind of just wanted to overwhelm the viewer and kind of make all of the different elements fight for your attention. And so we have the bugs, they're all differently colored. And then we also have the sand overlaid and you can't really see one because the other's in the way. And so we just wanted to like make you kind of fight. And then at the end of the sand animation, when it loops, there's a moment where everything's just white. And then finally that fight is over and you can see everything clearly. And you get like maybe a few seconds of reprieve. And then once again, you have to fight again. So just the idea of economy of attention and figuring out where you want to spend that.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. I'm also curious, is there anything about this process of like collaboration, teamwork, and like working with the combination of ceramics and animation that you're kind of inspired you to take forward in the rest of your practices?
We worked like this was a really fun project. We want to actually continue making bugs and continue this project. We felt like we worked really well together and everyone was able to do everything. And so all three of us were animating, all three of us were building, all three of us were installing. It was really a collaborative effort. So it just was very, very rewarding. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Okay. My last question. Do you guys have any a favorite bug?
Sorry, this is my favorite question because that's what we ask everyone that comes to see it too, because it's like everyone feels differently about different bugs, which is really fun.
They really embody different personalities too, so I can see why.
Yeah. I think I have to pick a favorite. It's probably this one. That's very strange just because we lost him for a few days in the kilns. And like I put up a lost poster to find him and he finally came back to us and I am so happy. And he's just like weird and funky and I love him.
What kind of a bug is he based off of?
He's a little bit abstract. I don't think there's like an origin. We kind of started with some more realistic ones and then sort of had fun with them and explored different shapes and forms. So they kind of got a little away.
And
but
your favorite bug?
I think my favorite bug has to be this guy down here. We've
Oh,
nicknamed
nice.
him Silly, and he is one of our abstract strange guys. But also I'd say the stick bug in the back, just because I feel like I don't know, whenever I saw him in the studio, I was sure he was going to break, and he has survived to this day. So he persevered.
Yay, stick bug.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And great job.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Guess we could share them, right?
Yes.
I'll just go with you guys. So you have to talk into the top and not on the side. Hello, thank you for presenting and doing this interview with me. Can I first start by getting your names? Emily.
Leah. Gabrielle.
Thank you. And your piece is called Relax Station. I love it. Can you talk a little about how the idea came together for the Relax Station?
So with the theme of the age of distraction, we're really thinking about the fast pace of our days and how we kind of needed for ourselves a moment of soothing and like to stop, and kind of wanted to go on those themes of like taking the time for like quiet and tactility and like kind of paying homage to these objects that are like coping mechanism to like protect ourselves from the symptoms of our days of the anxiety and stress. Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the objects that we have? Because I noticed there are a few that I would be drawn to in situations of stress, but I'm wondering like what brought you to choose the specific ones that I see on the table?
So we have these stress balls it's just like one of those very common objects. Like it's one of the first objects that we taught like is usually handled like almost it's the first OG almost next to like the pencil of like fidgeting toys. So we really like those. And obviously also the bubble wrap, where as soon as you have some bubble wrap inside a package, you're just really kind of, you automatically want to start just kind of playing around with it. So yeah.
I like that. I appreciate that you're choosing the age of distraction, things that distract you in like a very tactile way rather than just like a visual or other sensory way. So it's nice to have that element of like the body involved. And I also noticed when you picked up the stress ball, like it really does look like you just squeezed it. So.
That's what happened. And the pencil was chewed. So those two objects were like animated in that way during the process. But yeah, the fidget toys are, I like how you said that they are distracting us, but they're also have the goal to like help us concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this tension where today we can be like concentrated and distracted by things
at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. My last question, I'm curious, in this collaborative group project where you're combining these kinds of processes, is there anything that you are inspired to take forward with you into your future practice endeavors?
For me, definitely.
For me, definitely like the aspect of like therapeutical things is something that I really like and would want to pursue. So
for me too.
Also with like the kind of white and blank like of a project and the way that like the animation brought it to life, you really see how you can like bring something to the next level. Really, like I think it was really interesting to have that collaboration and see how like very different this is now than just the other ceramic objects. So I think it's really powerful.
Yeah. I agree that animation really does bring it to life. And that's also something I really like about all of the works here today is that like the extra layers that you wouldn't normally do on your own. And ceramics and animation people often kind of work individually and not collaboratively. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Danica, of course. And of course, also a thanks to Celia and Linda. We're going to be wrapping up the live stream now. So anyone on Zoom, we're going to be closing that too. But just let you know that's available now to be watched and shared on our YouTube channel. And I just want to thanks again for everyone just participating. Just the alchemy happening all week was amazing. And that's all for me. Anyway, thank you.